Bobby Petrino has found himself a quarterback, but Auburn comes away with a victory over Louisville in the opener, the Chick-fil-A Classic in Atlanta, 31-24. The Auburn Tigers, 6th ranked in the country, don't cover the spread, but they win the game, most importantly, again, by a touchdown. So Louisville gets the ball. They come out. They make a very dumb decision. And I know the dumb decision is predicated on the success of the play and the execution. But considering you've got a freshman quarterback playing against an elite team in a big setting in his first game, involved in the option play to the right that turned out to be basically a halfback pass downfield, and they threw the interception. Louisville did, picked off there at midfield by Auburn. That set up the opening drive for the Tigers, punching it into the end zone after Jeremy Johnson hit Duke Williams on a slant play. That was a beautiful pass by Duke Johnson. That was one of the few by Jeremy Johnson, I should say, to Duke Williams. It was a slant play where he hit him down to the 2-yard line, and Auburn went up 7-0. So let's break down the quarterback play on each side. For Jeremy Johnson, 11 of 21 for 140 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. So let's hold up the Heisman candidacy for Jeremy Johnson. He had 1 start last year. It was against Arkansas. At that point, the Hogs were not playing superior defense. They were coming off a 2013, which their defense was bottom 3 or 4 in the SEC. They got much better last season, but in the opener, he pretty much tore them up, 12 for 16. So obviously 16 pass attempts. The shouldering of the offense was not on his back. So Jeremy Johnson has some maturation to do. He did not look good in this game. If he was on the move or not on his platform throwing the football in the pocket down the field, he looked pretty bad. He threw 3 bad interceptions in this game. But he does have Duke Williams. They got to utilize him, of course, more than they did in this game, 3 for 41. When they messed around and tried to throw it, which, of course, that is going to be more the staple of this Auburn offense than it has been in recent years under Nick Marshall, they struggled because Jeremy Johnson struggled. They didn't struggle running the ball. So once they got serious running the ball late in the first half and the opening drive of the second half, that's when the Tigers scored. 3 of their 4 scores were offensive. They had the fumble recovery for the touchdown, coming back 77 yards. But 3 of the 4 Auburn touchdowns scored by the offense, and 2 of those drives were heavy run-oriented drives. Peyton Barber looked good, 25 carries for 109. Between Jovan Robinson and Rock Thomas, they ran 8 times for 42 yards, so that's a decent clip as well against the Louisville front that lost a number of key players to the NFL, but is still substantial. Bobby Petrino likes what he sees in the defense. I did as well. They put some pressure on Johnson, and they were not intimidated by Auburn's run game. But that's when the Tigers were most effective, running the football and not putting the ball in Jeremy Johnson's hands. He has to make better decisions, and sometimes the ball just didn't come out of his hand very well. On the other side, Reggie Bonnafon threw a laser slant on Louisville's second possession. That looked impressive to Jalen Smith, the freshman, who caught 4 for 40. I like the Cardinals receivers. They're very young. They're inexperienced outside of James Quick, who had substantial playing time. But in the absence of Devontae Parker moving on to the NFL, they have a slew of young, talented receivers. Devontae Pete as well. 3 catches for 60 yards. Quick caught 3 for 22. Missed field goals hurt for Louisville as well. Carl Lawson out of the game early for Auburn. He was walking the sideline most of the game with a limp, did not return. Montravius Adams was very disruptive. He was probably Auburn's most impressive defensive player, and we're certainly not surprised by that. It was mentioned a few times by the announce team that Will Muschamp had told Montravius Adams at some point during August camp that every time he takes a play off, he's costing himself NFL money. So that's his motivation. Okay, let's get back to the Louisville quarterback situation. Lamar Jackson, the freshman, came in, hit 9 of 20 for 100 yards and a pick. That doesn't seem overwhelming. He ran it, though, 16 times for 105 yards and 1 touchdown. And for a Louisville offense that has young receivers, extremely talented, quick, fast, big young receivers, but the offensive line is not dominant. The running game, the running backs are not special. Radcliffe, good back, not special. They need a dynamic playmaker quarterback. So it appears as though Lamar Jackson needs to be the guy in this 4-quarterback competition. Louisville can't mess around trying to choose a quarterback. I believe that they have one, considering his first start, his first play, his first game action against a quality opponent, that he played that well and showed that kind of poise, knew when to run it, knew when to throw it, knew when to throw it away. That this is the guy that needs to lead this offense to give them another playmaker in the offense, especially if he's going to take care of the football like he did on this day. Both teams made mistakes in the first half. It was Louisville making the costly mistakes, especially the fumble when Montrevious Adams, I believe, or was it Russell, had great penetration right after the handoff. The ball was coughed up by the Louisville running back. He never really had a handle on the ball. It goes back 80 yards for the Auburn touchdown. And of course, they had the boneheaded play, the dumb decision by Petrino on the first play of the game that set up Auburn with the short field. So that made it 14-0. And then Louisville could never catch up. They don't have the offensive firepower to catch up against a team like Auburn at this point. Again, Jeremy Johnson, if this team is going to go to a college football playoff, which is way down the road, let's win games over the likes of LSU in 2 weeks, then he is going to have to improve considerably. That's the deal on Auburn and Louisville. Tiger fans, Cardinal fans would love to hear from you on the opener right here on Mark Rogers TV.